So I have a 91 Ford Ranger that won't start. I found out that it's the starter motor, so today I'm going to replace that. So here's what it looks like if I try to start it. I get a lot of power, the battery checks out okay. I tried to jump the solenoid terminals, still wouldn't do anything. So I push in the clutch, try to start it, and you can actually hear the solenoid go over and nothing. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is go ahead and remove the negative battery terminal cable. I'll just stick that under here. Okay, so I'm going to show you from the top of the vehicle. It's a little easier to see than from underneath. There's not much room, it's cramped, and I just have it barely jacked up inside my garage. So, so I was able to get the socket on there. It's a 13 millimeter socket, so there appears to be, it's hard to see from here, but only 3 bolts holding the starter on. So I'm going to make sure that I can break them free, and then I'll remove the wires. Ooh, this is an old truck, so I may need a bigger breaker bar. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I have plenty of room in here to get a longer socket or a bigger socket wrench in there. So I'm going to trade that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I was able to get a much larger socket wrench in there, and I was able to just to make sure, still 13 millimeter, that I could break it free. So now we just go ahead and take the rest of these 3 off, and we should be in business. So I'll go ahead and do that and then come right back. So I was able to get the starter out. It was pretty easy. The bolts were a lot easier than I thought they would be, since this is 1991 Ford truck that originally started in Pennsylvania and is now in Virginia. It's seen a lot of salt on the roads. So I've changed out a couple things on this vehicle already to include the shocks, even though the shocks were disgusting and totally eaten away. The bolts to remove them were also very simple. I haven't had to use any lubricant to break free the bolts yet. So I did forget to mention one thing, and I misspoke about one thing. Back on the back of the starter, there is there are the 2 bolts, the 13 millimeter bolts. Really only one of them needed to come off. The other one just makes a connection between the starter and I guess this top thing. I'm really not sure what that is. Maybe a solenoid or something. Anyway, I sound like an idiot, but I really don't know anything about vehicles. I'm trying to save some money and have fun and learn some stuff. So anyway, there's a cap on the back of that covered them. And so you just have to pull it off, and you have access to those to that bolt to remove the wire. So really simple. Once again, the starter looks like it's kind of old, which it is. It looks like it's probably original manufacturer equipment. So here's the new one. Like I said, I bought this on Amazon for maybe 40 bucks. Not a refurb. It's just me. It's just me videoing, so I apologize. Since first video, I haven't figured out how to set up the camera without me holding it, so that's why I haven't shown you every single detail of me removing the bolts. But same wire connections. Yeah, this is going to be pretty simple, straightforward, and I'll go ahead and put that back on. I verified these. Okay, so here's where the starter connects. Sorry, I'm so close, but the camera won't allow me to back up with what's under the vehicle. So doesn't look too bad, doesn't look rusty or anything. I'm going to wipe that off. It's pretty cool. You can see where the starter goes in, and the teeth on the starter actually spin the 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 motor. So I don't know the correct term, so apologize. But yeah, once again, I'm super surprised at what shape this vehicle is in for as old as it is. So let me go ahead and wipe that off and see if it needs any scraping. Okay, so it doesn't look too bad. It actually looks pretty good. All I did is wipe it off. Reinstall the new starter, reconnect the wires, and I'll be right back. So I was able to get the starter back in. It's kind of dark under here. But yeah, so was everything lined back up perfectly. The last thing that I need to do now is to just go ahead and reconnect all the wires. So that'll be pretty straightforward. I'll just go ahead and put all that back in. So starting with this one here, we'll just put the bolt back in. So okay, so here's from the top of the engine bay, all the wires reconnected to the starter. So everything lined up easily, went right back in. We'll go ahead and try to restart the vehicle now. So I'll need to go ahead and reconnect the negative battery terminal again and tighten that up, and then we should be able to start the vehicle. I'll go ahead and tighten it up first, and then we'll start it up, see how it does. Okay, so here's the final test. We'll go ahead and try and start the vehicle now with the new starter installed. Started right up. Perfect. We'll go ahead and kill the engine. And we'll try it one more time. Oh, it should be good. Started right up. So that was a pretty simple repair. Once you find out what the issue is, this engine is no frills. It's a 2.3 liter. Like I said, I've only done a couple things. So I changed out the spark plugs, the spark plug wires, and the shocks. But pretty easy, pretty simple, fun to work on, and like me, no experience necessary. Just something fun to work on. So if I do anything else, I'll be sure to record that too. Thanks. Hopefully it was helpful.